Jeez. Please tell me that we're back now. Um, all right, cool. We're back. Sorry about that, everyone. Don't know what happened there. All of a sudden, my microphone and my camera just decided to stop working altogether. So we're going to start over again. Could Manchester United add even more attackers in January? Has Ruben Amorim decided on his Ahmad Diallo option on the left-hand side? Are United set to activate a £65 million release clause to bring Antoine Semenyo to Old Trafford? We're exploring all of this today. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. This is United versus Everybody. I am Sean. Normally, everything's pretty smooth. Not sure what just happened. Literally, my microphone and my camera just switched off. I had to go in and manually turn them back on. That was really weird, but we're back. So welcome back, everyone. And this is your first time. Nice to meet you. And don't be afraid to introduce yourself, where you're watching from. Make sure you guys are subscribe to the channel. If you guys are new, you like what you see, aside from the technical difficulties. But we're going to dive into all this today. So let me know where you're watching from if you're new. There's a poll in the chat as we explore this too. So get involved in that poll. Who's here today? Who's joining me midweek? How's everyone's week going? Today is Thursday, right? Is there any football on today? I get bored when there's no football on. Danny B's in the house. Yes, please like and subscribe, you guys. Welcome back, Danny. Jim's in the house. Jim also very active in the United vs. Everybody WhatsApp community. Members starting 11 and Legends members get access to the WhatsApp group. There's a link in the post section of the channel, so go check that out. And our Globetrotters, Sanjay, where are you watching from today? Sanjay, welcome back, bud. Good to see you again. Dylan, Dylan's popping in. Obviously, just being the amazing teacher. Do you have a like a YouTube for your teaching account? Because it says Red Devils Teacher. That's not your YouTube name. I hope you're doing. Dylan, you guys, is my co-host on the channel. He joins me every week for the Kickabout. Last night we did that. Go check that out if you haven't yet. Excellent show talking about Bruno's interview, Covey Manu, Scholes, Amram, all that. So go check that out if you haven't yet. It's longer, but it's an excellent listen. Dylan and I are going to Manchester next week. So this time next week, we will be in Manchester. We'll be doing that. So big up, everyone. Glad it's all working. Dylan's got a whole separate account. I love that it's Red Devil Teacher, too. It's not just like such and such school teacher. It's a Red Devil Teacher. Oh, Dylan. Never change. I gotta check and see first and foremost if there's footy on today, because I'm gonna get bored here if there's not. I don't have a whole lot. Okay, we got Conference League, so no footy today. Oh, Italy's got their Super Cup. I mean, we can watch Napoli, Copa del Rey. Meh. I might go watch that Napoli match against AC Milan. Maybe get a look and see how Juan Jimenez is doing these days. Dana says we're just halfway through Bruno Rear interview and got a notification. Yeah, I was watching that as well. I had clients. Obviously, I'm dressed for clients today, but I did watch it. I thought it was going to be interesting. I think Rio kind of hooked us with some of that. I didn't get to finish it. I think I didn't. I watched like anything but the last 10 minutes or so. He hooked us with the beginning. He showed a little separate clip, like basically almost making me think they were going to talk about the interview with Canal 11, but that interview was done in November. This one is done recently. So Rio got me there for a second, but it is what it is. We did talk about that Bruno interview last night as well. So if you guys haven't do that, go check it out. But let's talk about Antoine Semenyo. That's probably why you're all here. The thumbnail got you hooked. So the whole Semenyo stuff started with a comment yesterday from Fabrizio Romano on his YouTube channel. He made this claim, if you guys haven't yet seen it. So this is kind of me paraphrasing what he said here. This week, again, Manchester United and Manchester City called to understand the situation of Semenyo. Between Monday and Tuesday, some calls took place from United and City to understand the situation of Semenyo. He's got a £65 million release clause. He adds to Romano that Spurs, Liverpool are interested as well. Where are you guys at? We've talked about Antoine Semenyo a lot. Remember, we talked about him a lot in the summer when we were linked to like Mbumo and Cunha and all that stuff. Semenyo's name was brought up many times. A lot of you guys at that time didn't quite rate him. Don't know if you've stuck to that, if maybe your mind has been changed looking at him a little bit this season. Did he pass the audition on Monday? I mean, obviously some of us were worried that maybe he wasn't physical enough. He definitely bullied Luke Shaw off the ball, drove that ball in there single-handedly and scored. I think he passed that test. Obviously, he's a very direct, very pacey player. I could definitely see the like Liverpool going. I can see that working out, especially if Arne Slot and Mo Salah can't figure out what's going on between the two of them, and maybe Mo Salah even leaves in January. I definitely think like Liverpool then will suddenly be in need of a right-sided first-team attacker with some experience, and I think Semenyo ticks a lot of those boxes. Um, if he were to come to United, I mean, I think obviously Semenyo would probably start at left wing back, but he's versatile. He can play anywhere across that. I mean, again, that Ahmad on the left option that Amorim mentioned a couple weeks back, that could be a thing too. So Amorim has raved about Semenyo recently. Remember in that Bournemouth pre-match presser, he basically called him, Bournemouth's best player. Literally his words, not mine. He said he's a special player. We'll see. What are you guys' thoughts here? Niche fan back in the house, liked. I appreciate that. Yes, please make sure you're liking and subscribing if you guys are new as well. We are on the road to 3K. I did promise if we got there before Christmas, we would do a giveaway. And because Dylan and I are taking the kickabout, we're taking the channel to Manchester, the winner of the giveaway would get whatever they wanted from the mega store while I was there. But y'all let me know where you think we could go. Danny's Semenyo and Gomez 100 mil and change in January. Oh, Danny's still waving the João Gomez flag there. Dylan says he looks good to me, but we do need a center. Yeah, I did put some options in that poll. I agree. For me, center midfield needs to be the priority. I think it's an area where we look very, very weak. I'm not. If it's a Semenyo like to accommodate for AFCON, I think that's a lot of money to spend for AFCON. Obviously, you can say, you know what, it makes us stronger, but I think the midfield is got to be a priority. I think that we look very weak in transitions. We're sleeping a little bit. The midfield is very, very important. And it's a position we've neglected to adequately fill. I mean, I don't think Ugarte really fits that. Casemiro is a bit of a stopgap option. Yes, he's had a tremendous start to the season. He's waned a little bit since the last international break, but I do think Casemiro has stepped it up this year. Kobe, I don't know if we can count Kobe as part of the squad anymore, given what happened at that Bournemouth game with his brother's shirt. I did see a post that apparently there's this person selling them, and they're like still selling them. So here's the thing with that. Like, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but like legally, you have to have permission to put Kobe Mainoo's full name on something like that and sell it. Like, you have to have permission to do that. Otherwise, you could get sued. So if he's not been sued yet, then he's got Kobe's permission, which is a big thing. Nice fan says we're getting him. Glasner is coming in and he's going to play a 4-3-3 with us. Glasner also bring Gay and Wharton, so we're just getting everybody. You think Baleba's already done? Interesting. So 4-3-3. So what does that mean for Cunha? What does that mean for Mbeumo? What does that mean for Ahmad as well? That's the big deal. We've got a lot of players who are going to miss out if we switch to a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3. A 3-4-2-1 is the best way to kind of get them all involved. But I think that obviously we're lacking a lot of the players. I'd still opt for a 3-5-2 personally, so we can just go ahead and shore up that midfield, especially when Šeško is injured. I definitely would have thought Cunha and Mbeumo as a front two would have been very nice. Thought that would have stretched a lot of defenses. I think oftentimes when you've got multiple attackers getting in advanced positions, it opens up that lane a little more than just one focal point of the attack personally. But that's just me. Danny says he'd rather prioritize a midfielder, but if it means getting him now before City or the Dippers get him now, that's a lot of money though. 65 million release clause is a lot of money for an attacker. We bought 3 attackers in the summer as well. No midfielders. A lot of you guys really, really were adamant and raging that we didn't get him in. Me too. I'm raging that we didn't get a midfielder. Obviously, we went for midfield. We went for Baleba reportedly. We tried to get a loan move for Conor Gallagher. That didn't work out. I think I have no problem with competition for places in the squad. I do think it makes us better when we've got quality and depth, right? I think we've spoken about that many times. I want to raise the floor, so if we got injuries, we're not struggling so much. But yeah, what does this mean for someone like Dorgu, for instance? Or Ahmad, maybe we're gonna look a little bit about where Semenyo might play as well. But interesting. You guys let me know where you think Semenyo would play as well if we joined him. Niche fan thinks Kobe's going on loan to Napoli. Man, Niche fan seems like an ITK today. Glasner was like most people's pick when Dylan and I did the Amorim replacement video a couple months back when shit was really hitting the fan. If you guys remember that one, Glasner was the overwhelming favorite. I think now a lot of people are pivoting to Unai Emery as well. I think Emery's in with a good shout. So Jim celebrates 2 months of membership on the channel and says, I don't think we will get him. City or Liverpool will. City are interesting, but first and foremost, Jim, before I move on, though, I can give my thoughts. You get one of these. Oh, man, big up. Thank you guys for jumping in and joining in with the members as well. It's a great way to support the channel, but you guys know I also like to give back. So membership isn't just emojis and badges. Starting 11 and Legends members, of course, get the access to the WhatsApp group. They also get to contribute ideas and suggestions for scouting report players or what if episode ideas, stuff like that. Legends members, again, there is a special post for Legends members too. You actually get to join in virtually for the weekly Kickabout show if you want to as well. It's a perk of your Legends membership as well. So Danny's calling off. Yeah, donating memberships is hilarious, right? It's all we were talking about that the other day. Like, it's the best way to point out who's lurking as well. So Danny says he's a good Xerxes replacement. No, that's true. He's definitely an upgrade on Xerxes in my opinion. I think Xerxes does have his qualities. I'm just I'm struggling to justify those qualities being worth a place in the squad right now, or the wages or anything, because I just don't know if he does enough for me. Xerxes is not bad. I just don't know if he does enough personally. Niche fan says, here's what it'd be under Glasner by the summer. 4-3-3. He's going out all of it. So Delit, Gay. I like Gay a lot. Gay's good. So what does that mean for Leacha? What does that mean for Shaw, for Euro, for Aiden Heaven? Wharton's good. I like Wharton. I'm trying to do my magic to get Wharton to the club, guys. Trust me. Baleba, I'm definitely not sold on Baleba. I think that's a no-go for me. I'm definitely opting for Elliot Anderson over Baleba personally. It's an interesting lineup. Big up, Jules. How you doing, man? Good to see you, man. I hope you're doing well on Thursday. We just celebrated 2 months of membership for Jim. Big up, Jim, for helping the channel out. So yeah, I do think if he were to come here to United, Semenyo, for me, when I look at the players we have, when I look at maybe where we're weak, I definitely would see him maybe throwing on the left-hand side on that wingback role. A lot of us were a little iffy on his finishing. A lot of us were a little iffy on his physicality, on his defending. We're going to look at some of that as well. Like I said, Amorim called him Bournemouth's best player recently, said he's a special player. Ben Jacobs added stuff to this as well. I think speaking to the United stand, I know Ben Jacobs can be super iffy when it comes to a lot of Ben Jacobs comments sound to me like somebody saying like, I can't imagine this, or he's got to be like this. It doesn't really sound to me like actual news. It just sounds like somebody's opinion. But he does say that like we're not, according to Ben Jacobs, we're not leading the race for Semenyo at all. I don't think anybody's really leading the race necessarily. But he does say we are in form. So I'm going to listen to Romano before I listen to Jacobs. But we'll see what happens with that one. Dylan says, let's throw a cheeky 30 million bid at Palace for Gahey just to throw a middle finger. Dude, just honestly, just for the ability to steal him from Liverpool alone, just worth it. Just worth it. I did read something the other day, Dylan, that Gahey and his agent were meeting with Liverpool because it was very close to happening in the summer. Obviously didn't happen. I think Palace probably would have lost Glasner if it happened and they didn't replace him, though. And they could still do it. If they lose Gahey in January and they don't replace him, I do think Glasner walks earlier than I think Glasner's gone in the summer anyway. But I did see something that Gahey and his agent met with Liverpool now to basically renegotiate that deal. Now that he's set to be free in the summer, I think they're looking for maybe a little bit more of a bonus or more wages or something. And that's what happens. There's no such thing as a free signing. You've got to do a lot of convincing, which is why the release clauses are a little interesting. Niche fan says, we have to get Glasner. His appointment is more important than anything. Yeah, a lot of people voted. That was their pick. I think that was my pick as well. If we had to replace Amorim again, this is never me being Amorim out. This was, hey, shit was getting dark back in September, October. We need to start being a little proactive about this. So yeah, Dylan and I went through like 8 managers, their history, their win percentage, their style of play, why they would be a good fit, what might make them not a good fit, all that kind of stuff. We went through 8 of them, if you guys remember. That was a long show, but it was a good show. Niche fan says, this is a great channel, Jim. There's so many good United channels just with the club. We're as good as YouTubers. Well, I appreciate that, Niche fan. You get a heart from me. Really, it's y'all's channel. Y'all are the ones basically facilitating the chat. I'm just kind of throwing out the topics. This is kind of like doing therapy. My job as a therapist, I don't really talk a whole lot, honestly. I kind of nudge the conversation along. I kind of offer perspective, give people tools every now and then, but mostly it's people kind of talking and opening up. I don't do a whole lot of talking. Um, but yeah, no, I enjoy it. It's good times. Niche fan wants a father figure manager. Interesting. Interesting. Let's see who else. I'm gonna get caught up in the chat here. Rich says Glasner plus Wharton and Gahey in the summer. We just turning into Palace basically. It's kind of like Inter Miami or Timu Barcelona. I like Wharton. He looks very good. You know what I didn't realize? I was watching Crystal Palace play City over the weekend. Obviously, Palace lost. I didn't realize how quick Wharton's feet were, like on the ball, like his control and his dribbling. Because I've called him like the closest thing I've seen to Michael Carrick since Michael Carrick retired, and I still hold that. But he's actually like his feet are very very quick, especially under pressure in tight spaces, which I think in a way he's got a little bit one up on Carrick in that regard. It's not me saying he's better than Carrick. I think he's just got a trait that Carrick didn't have. I do still think Carrick is a little bit more of a leader. I do still think Carrick has a little bit more better reading of the game a little bit. But I think, yeah, Wharton reminds me just a little bit pacier and maybe a little bit more of an aggressive version of Carrick personally. But yeah, I like a lot of Palace's players. I think they've got some excellent players at that club. I know a lot of you wanted Mateta, for instance, in the summer. I wanted Olise when Ten Hag was still here. I think Olise on the right-hand side would have been absolute dynamite for us personally. But obviously he's at Bayern and he's having an absolute barnstorm of a season. But what do you think about Semenyo? I personally think 65 million is a lot. It's a release clause. Yeah, clubs are also doing things now where you used to be you had to pay it entirety, but nowadays, like with Cunha and whatnot, we are able to negotiate that. That doesn't always happen. And clubs aren't really obligated to do that as selling clubs. That's a very generous breakdown if clubs are offering to do that, but 65 million is a lot. It does basically front load our attack with a lot of versatility and things, especially if we might see more 4-4-2. Maybe there's an opportunity, to use that pace and power up there. But I think for me, it's not just on its face. It's like, yes, 65 million. It's not my money, whatever. But I always look at through the lens of what else we need to do, in my opinion, in terms of strengthening. And yes, the funds are finite at the end of the day. I look at it like if we use that 65 million for Semenyo, and that means we can't go then and strengthen in other priorities like center midfield, like Dylan was saying, that to me is a problem. Because for me, center midfield is a priority. It is a must. There's no excuse. I'm even going as far as to say in January, there's no excuse not to get a center midfielder. I think we have to, like, for sure. I think Casemiro, whatever happened over that international break, Casemiro just looked like whatever that little extra running on fumes that he started the season with, he's finally hit empty, and he's kind of chugging along a little bit around that 60, 65 minute mark in matches. And if Kabi's still going to have all this drama, then I'm just at a point now where I'm like, I'm done. Ugarte, I don't think does enough either. So yes, we need minimum 2 midfielders. I'm not going to demand 2 midfielders in January because that's a lot to ask. I think we should, if we really want to make a strong push for a top 4 finish. I think that would, and depending on the midfielder, I think that could really push us over the edge. Like if you go get somehow blow everyone out of the water and make a huge bid for Elliot Anderson or something, and I think to me Elliot Anderson is a difference between a top 4, top 5 finish and not finishing. Like that's just me though. I rate him that highly. Okay, let me get caught up because I just spoke a lot. Niche fan says we got a 250 million war chest. Are you secretly like Omar Barada in disguise? You seem to know a lot. I like the thought of a 250 million war chest. I think that would be excellent. It's just, I don't know. We'll see, man. We're still trying to figure out what's going on with some of the players we still have. We've trimmed the wage bill down. I think it's the lowest it's been in like 5 or 6 years, which is good. It does give us a little bit of wiggle room, but we did miss out on Europe, so that is a big hit. We don't have a training kit shirt sponsor right now. I think that was 20 million a year as well. So you remember we talked about the first quarter financial results that came out, which showed that we were down a little bit in many areas. Keep in mind too that the months in question in this first quarter were August, September, I think, and during those 2 months we only had 3 matches at home as well, so that hurt us a little bit as far as gate receipts concerned and match day revenue. Obviously, no one's in there buying stuff at the mega store, buying concessions and whatnot. That hurts. So yeah, not being in Europe is definitely a big hurt. Big up, Box. Good to see you, man. We're just chatting about Antoine Semenyo a little bit right now. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying your day. Guys, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you're new, let us know where you're watching from. I love to know where people from. We got people watching from all over the world. Technology, right? It's awesome. I feel so old sometimes, and I'm like, ooh, this person's watching from England. Like, yeah, Sean, that's how technology works, dude. um, Red Dylan says, I'm all in on Elliot Anderson. He's impressed me. Yeah. And it's for me, it's Anderson first, and then we figure out the rest later. I don't care how much Anderson costs. We'll figure it out. Um, so yeah, I like Semenyo. I think for me, I saw something. I mean, maybe this is, hey, we're playing against United. Everybody, it could be maybe everyone turns up against United, or we just make people look good. Like I said the other day, we made Jared Bowen look like prime Messi the other couple weeks ago against West Ham. So maybe that's just the United factor. I don't know, but um, I think Semenyo showed me something on Monday that I haven't seen from him in like last season and stuff. But in terms of just that directness, that physicality, that kind of take charge initiative, which I really wanted to see more from. But it's not up to me. Obviously, it's not up to us, but it's worth talking about. I'm more interested in what you guys have to think than anything. But in terms of Semenyo, though, I mean, let's look at some of his numbers here. Let's start with his heat map because this might show us where he will be playing. Let me share this tab instead and make sure you guys can see it. All right, cool. I'm going to make this a little bigger so you guys can really see what I'm looking at here. So this is his heat map so far this season in 15 appearances. And you can see he's predominantly a left-sided player. Again, probably if we were in form, probably would be that left wing back spot. He is more of attacking. So again, that Ahmad on the left-hand side. Remember, we showed you guys the Ahmad heat map when I did the Jens Petter Hauge video, the other player that I was looking at for left wing back, like an attacking role in left wing back. So again, you've got a balance. You've got someone like Adalo or Mazraoui on the right, but you've also got an Ahmad on the right. We've got a Dorgu, maybe potentially a Shaw on the left, but we also need maybe someone who's a little bit more attacking output on that left-hand side. And that is where Semenyo, in my opinion, would be playing if we sign him. Let's look at his percentiles as well here. So if you want to switch over and look at his percentiles, in comparatively number speaking, so you can see actually compared to wingers as well, his defensive output is well above average. So again, if you compare him to other wingers in that advanced kind of wingback role, he's actually doing a little bit more off the ball than a lot of other people. Literally top 20% for tackles, top 1% for blocks. So he's able to get into good positions. Those aerial duels really are a big key for me. He's got top 3% there as well. But you can see his take-on numbers are above average as well. He's in the 62nd percentile for take-ons, above average for carries, above average for progressive balls. His pass completion is not great, but again, you're an attacker, and so when you're an attacker in those advanced positions, your passing is really going to be like cutbacks, maybe like crosses and driven balls, which you're going to see that number reduce as well because you're trying to put it through a lot of defenders, and so it rarely comes off as well, if that makes sense. Let's see. Amr Fikri, welcome to the channel. Says, in Amorim we trust. Hey, more power to you, man. You guys know I don't get into in or out debates. I criticize when necessary. I praise when it's deserved, and that's all I can do. Amorim, like any manager, will get himself sacked or get himself back based on his decisions or his ability to be flexible and adapt and really learn. That's the key. He's a young manager. He's got to show an ability to learn as well. Let's see. Niche fan says Indicator is a source that I trust. Indicator is a source that I do not trust whatsoever. I'm not saying that they're wrong or anything. I just don't trust them. They come out with some pretty outlandish stuff, in my opinion, personally. Can you all see that? Do I need to make it any bigger for you? I can make it bigger if you want. So, but yeah, you can see well above average for off the ball work for attacking attackers, and again above average for ball progression and take-ons and whatnot. Pretty good so far that's from the last year comparatively across the top leagues in Europe. So he's got 7 goals, 3 assists as well right now. Semenyo, I'm going to put this back on the screen now, which is good. Last season he had 13 goals, 6 assists in all comps, and so he's not an elite attacker, but he's definitely someone who from the wide position is going to contribute. He's already halfway there, to more than halfway almost, to getting his numbers from last season as well. So Emmer says, Amorim, the best manager in the world. Trust me. Now I'm starting to think you're just Amorim, like with a burner account. Like, tell me, are you, like, be honest. Is this Amorim? Let me know. I want to know what you think. um, Jules says, Indy is like a broken clock being correct twice a day. Honestly, David Ornstein was the best and the worst thing that happened to Indy because now remember, like last month, I listed off a bunch of the claims that Indy Kayla had made in the last several months, and some of them are just completely out there. Like Real Madrid going for Alexis McAllister this summer. That's what they were claiming. There were a couple other ones on there too, and I'm like, come on, that's not going to happen. They don't ever have any sources or anything. Their sources just seem to be, trust me, bro. You guys know how I feel about a lot of different outlets. Team Talk, I'm not a big fan of. Caught Offside, I'm not a big fan of. Ficaihes, I'm not a big fan of, like, at all. There are a lot of Italian and Spanish and Portuguese outlets that are just not great either. And that's been the big thing. I mean, this isn't me telling you guys what to believe when, like, I'm not an expert. I've just, over the years, I'm just looking at some of these sources and I'm like, I'm just not a big fan. Like a lot of the El Mala stuff that came out yesterday, I'm like, it's coming from Sport Build, which is an offshoot of Build, but it's literally like the German equivalent of the Sun. It's a tabloid basically. And so I'm not saying it's for sure not true. I got to see it from some better sources personally. So we got we got a stato in here. Boxes indicate as a 0.1% conversion rate. So they're the Hoyland of sources, and is what you're saying. Big up. No offense though. I'm sorry. I can't resist an easy joke though. But but yeah, would Semenyo be your first choice left-sided option? Do you think this is where I would see him maybe lining up if United were to go get him? Obviously, I threw him on that left-hand side. It's a very strong-looking lineup, right? I mean, again, you still look at that and you think the midfield needs some help, especially maybe with Casemiro getting a little older. But to me, that's a very strong starting 11. I mean, depending on the opposition, there might be some instances where maybe you want to have someone a little bit more defensive on either of those wingback roles. Maybe you want to shore up the defense a little bit. You can also change it throughout the game, like we did against Bournemouth. We can also move the actual fullback like Shaw to the left if we want to switch to a back four. There's nothing wrong with that either. There are just a lot of good players out. We've scouted several players too that could fill that role as well. Like Sofiane El Karouani, who I scouted a few months back, doing bits for FC Utrecht right now in the Eredivisie. He's a very attack-minded, chance-creating left back. He's got 3 goals, 15 assists in all competitions this season. He's been man of the match half a dozen times, a couple times team of the week. I mean, there's a lot of players out there, in my opinion. But again, for me, sort the center midfield role first and foremost. Get that sorted, in my opinion, because it's where I think we look weakest, especially rest defense, especially against transitions. I mean, we're getting dribbled through, we're getting passed through with ease. And that is leading to a lot of it's not, I guess, not a lot of chances, but it's leading to chances that opposition generally scores from. Like, we're not conceding a ton of chances, but the ones we are conceding, the opposition is capitalizing on, and it's not great. Box wants to know who my first choice target for left wing back is. Oh boy, I'm trying to think off the top of my head who my first choice left wing. There is a ton of options out there. I've talked about Fran Garcia at Madrid. I've talked about Jens Peter Hauge. Obviously, Semenyo is doing bits right now. There's a lot of players out there. If it depends, maybe if money is no object or something. Last year, you guys know I was waving the Federico DeMarco flag. He had an absolute stinker of a Champions League final. I still like DeMarco a lot. I think he'd be good. I do think someone who's a little bit more experienced would be great. I don't really have a first choice, if I'm honest, Box. Who would your first choice be? What are you guys saying in this poll either? So 52% of you say yes, Semenyo in January, absolutely. 13% say no, not for me, and 35% of you kind of where I'm at right now, where I'm just looking at other priorities and mainly midfield at the moment. Brown, is that the Frankfurt guy? He's very good. I don't think I'd want to spend that much on someone who's not necessarily going to be starting week in, week out, if that makes sense. But yeah, I don't have an option, honestly. There's so many. I would have to go back and look at some of the players I've scouted and think about that a little bit before I have an answer. Jewel says the scars from Alex Tellez are still sore. He had a tremendous stats too. I mean, maybe Alvaro might be my first choice, man. If we could bring Alvaro back, that might be my answer because Alvaro looks like an absolute baller at Real Madrid. He went into Real Madrid and literally just claimed that starting spot, and he's held on to it. And he looks like he's been playing there for years, Alvaro. He's an absolute dynamite player, dude. I'm still bummed about that. If you guys are into the What If series, I did my first episode of season 4 was about Ten Hag and Alvaro. You can go check that out if you want. So big up Rob Taff in the house. Yes, please do hit that like button. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. Appreciate that, you guys. Oh, what's everybody getting up today? It's not going to be super long today, but I was really just curious about what you guys had to think about Semenyo. But yeah, if you guys have your first choice left wing back target, you guys let me know, because when it comes to what we have and what we need, my left wing back priorities are going to be chance creation. I'm looking at people who've got assists, who've got chance creation, who are good attacking output. But because again, I'm filtering through that lens of the Ahmad on the left-hand side. We have Dorgu, we have Shaw, who are a little more defensive. I do think Shaw probably is the best crosser of the ball we have right now, and so I do think maybe he can have a role to play there as well. But Dorgu, he's still young. He's got the mentality, he's got the physicality, he's got that energy, that work rate. His final ball needs work, and he'll get there, hopefully. I mean, I'm not going to say he 100% will. We don't know, but he's young, so I'm willing to give him some time. But Nick says Semenyo will only move in the summer to a club with a Champions League. I mean, he could. His release clause kicks in next month, though, I think, and so he could very well leave in January. And like I said, if Salah and Arne Slot can't figure out their squabbling, and Salah, I could easily see Salah leaving in January, and in that case, Liverpool all of a sudden have a Mo Salah shaped hole on that right hand side of their attack, which I do think Semenyo probably fits to a T. City obviously linked according to Romano. So what does that mean? Does that mean Savinho, surprise, not quite good enough? What does that mean for Doku? Isn't Doku injured as well? So we know that City, whenever somebody gets injured, even if it's for a couple weeks, they just go throw 50 million, 60 million at the problem, like i.e. Matheus Nunes, who I think a lot of people until this season forgot was at City. Remember, they bought him like 2 years ago when Kevin De Bruyne got injured, and then just they didn't even bother playing him anymore. So, but yeah, City buying players and never using them. Yeah, who knows, right? Calvin Phillips, Fabian Delph, all that shit. It is what it is, man. I'm not gonna bother with City. I remember I saw somebody, I think it was Football Terrorist, do a video on City this morning that there was some other channel or some journalist who is convinced that City are guilty and they know they're guilty, but I don't remember exactly. I have to go back and watch it again. But yeah, I think people keep forgetting too that there's this whole 115 charges thing that's been out there for like 2 years already. Bach says, seeing as how we're looking to buy CM as a left wing back, another attacker, fair to say Ineos wasted 100 million in Dorgu, Ugarte, Xerxes. Ugarte, Xerxes, I do think, and again, you never know when you sign a player. There's only so much analysis, so much scouting that you can do. You're never, ever going to know how a signing is going to work out. You just don't. I wish there was a button you could press. I wish it was as simple as you got the controller and you can control the player. You can't. Xerxes, I don't think, is showing enough. Ugarte hasn't really developed. Dorgu, I still am reserved on just because he was literally 20 when we bought him. He just turned 21 like in November. I don't think Dorgu is going to be the main guy. I don't think he's brought in to be a guaranteed starter. I think we have to look at Dorgu as someone who's like when we got Malacia a little bit. Personally, I'm willing to give Dorgu time because he's young is basically what I'm getting at. So we have a lot of young players. I mean, Dorgu is not that much older than Yoro, for instance. He didn't have many more. I think that when we signed him compared to like Højlund, he'd only had maybe like 10 or 12 more first team appearances in first team football than Højlund did at that point. So these are very young players. I don't expect to finish article when we sign teenagers or sign players who were like 20, 21 years old. I just don't. Let's see. Rob says Goldbridge was on about this being Pep's last season. Yeah, I mean, Pep's been here a minute, but does he really need to do anything else? Honestly, I mean, it'd be so funny though, because then that conversation changes with all these City fans who want to think that Pep is the best manager ever. If they're guilty, and that basically just puts an asterisk over everything Pep's done at City. And don't give me this, well, the charges are from this time to this time. No, anything that's happened, anything that involves any player that City shouldn't have been allowed to buy, every single thing, that is all got an asterisk next to it. And so now you're taking away a Champions League, you're taking away a treble, you're taking away Centurions, you're taking away the three-peats, all that shit. It all goes away. Holland's record goes away as far as I'm concerned. It's all gone. It's absolutely all gone. Tiger Claws, welcome back. Remember you from last night. Hope you're doing well. Says go get Semenyo if possible. We can add better center midfield in the summer to tighten up the defense. Rather keep pushing for more goals in this team, drawing in second with Arsenal. But we can improve. We do need to get better at finishing our dinner. I mean, granted, we have scored 8 goals in our last 2 matches. So, I mean, we can't say we're not scoring. But again, that losing De Ligt, losing Maguire, that was a big drop off. I'm happy Leach's getting back. But yeah, with having they're not bad. They're just young again. So it is what it's going to be. I know a lot of people are going in on Senna Lamens. I don't think there's anything Senna Lamens can really do for a couple of those goals. The attackers literally just walked through our defense and had nothing but space to work with. But it's really annoying. Rob says more chance of, what is that, 3-eye Atlas landing on Earth. I don't know what that means. You have to let me know what that means. I don't know if I should laugh at it or not because I just don't know what it means. But I think I get the gist from context. I'm going to laugh. Haha. Thank you. So, but yeah, you let me know what you think about Semenyo. Is he a priority? Should we move on? Maybe you just don't rate him. And some people just don't rate him very highly, and that's totally fine as well. This whole time, Box, I've been trying to think of other left wing backs. I've done so many, like Jordi Boss at Feyenoord is one I've talked about. Obviously, Sofiane El Karouani I've talked about as well, both playing in the Eredivisie as well. There's been some Spanish players that we've spoken about recently. I like David Raum a lot at Leipzig. If he's still there, I can't remember if he's still there or not. He's doing pretty well. There are a lot of good players out there. But there are also a lot of really good center midfielders out there. I don't remember where the source is though, so someone can correct me. I did see links to Mamadou Sangare, who is now at RC Lens. Remember, we did a scouting report on Mamadou Sangare like 3 or 4 months ago on the channel, back when he was playing, I want to say in Belgium or Denmark. I don't remember now off the top of my head. It was so long ago, but very good midfielder, young midfielder. He's not very old, but already getting links. I'm not saying I believe in links. It was just interesting that when I saw the links, I was like, oh yeah, that guy. Buck says, in that Sleepy G season, Liverpool scored about 100 and conceded about 55. Yeah. And that's the thing that you're going to see with most teams, especially when there's a rebuild or when they're in a tough period of time. Managers do tend to focus on the defense first. They were talking about this a little bit on the overlap this morning. And they try to shore up the defense. That's just part of it. That's how you get stability. It starts from the back. Make yourselves hard to beat. Ferguson did this for a while. And we talked about this last night on the Kickabout. There was a period of time where Fergie literally just was very defensive, just because that's what you need sometimes. And you build from there. There's nothing wrong with that. Same like with youngsters. You want youngsters to come into a stable environment. You want the environment to be non-toxic. You want the environment to have stability, have some sort of plan, and facilitate development, individual development as well. And so it sucks. It does sort of feel like you're dragging your feet sometimes, but you can't do everything at once. And it does sometimes feel like you're taking a step backwards. But like I always say, it's like shooting a bow and arrow. Sometimes you got to go backwards to go forward. And that's kind of, even like in a match, sometimes Bruno spoke about this with Rio, learning that sometimes you want to go forward. You want to always look for the attacking option to create the change. But sometimes the better option to just get back on a stable footing or ease pressure is to pass it backwards, and just get yourself out of a hairy situation. I know everyone wants to keep moving forward all the time, but sometimes moving backwards is moving forward in a weird way. Danny says, Sangare, how is he doing at Lens? I don't watch the French league simply because it's the French league, but I can look and see maybe how he's doing real quick on, let me see here on FB Ref and see what his numbers have been looking like. See what that. So goal and assist already doing pretty well. Good off the ball numbers, good take ons. Again, he's kind of like that all around midfielder. Let's see how he's doing in league. So yeah, good numbers, tackles wise. And I can put this on the screen if you want to see what Mamadou Sangare is looking like right now. So these are his numbers at the moment. I'm going to close this thing. I can't stand pop-ups. It's so annoying. So yeah, Mamadou Sangare looking very, very good on and off the ball. good average, good. So he's kind of player. He's going to win the ball, but he's kind of like a more defensive Cobby. He's going to win the ball. He's going to read the situation, but he has the ability to take it up. And you can argue maybe that's like a Baleba as well, similar to Baleba's style of playing too. So doing very well. He was already doing well when we scouted him, in my opinion. So he's a good player. He's a very good player, Sangari. There's been a lot of those kind of players popping up. That's why I mean, like, there's really good midfielders out there. Yes, for me, it's Anderson first, and then we can get a partner for Anderson. I don't have a problem with that. But Buck says, I like Munoz, but he's older. Vanderson, but he's a right wing back. Livramento looks good. Yeah, you're ticking a lot of boxes. I liked Eight Nori before he went to City. I thought he would be a good option as well. Um, oh, there's a comet getting close. Has traveled a long way. Interesting. See, there's very little I know about. Like, I don't know anything about politics. I know very little about like science and whatnot. And clearly, I don't know anything about comets, man. um, who's the guy at Sporting? Yeah, that's the box talking about Maxi Araujo. Yeah, there's a lot of good players. Bjorn Meyer when he was at Club Brugge, I really liked Bjorn Meyer. I liked the Kuiper too. He ended up going to Brighton. I also liked Kadioglu, who was at Brighton as well. Brighton pick up a lot of players. Tiger Claw says, when Leach and DeLitt come back from the defense will improve anyway. Heaven will improve. Yeah, I don't go too hard on Heaven or Euro. Like, I do point out when they make mistakes, and I do think they were at fault for Evan Nielsen's goal. I do think that the youth will do that. Yoro's had a couple of poor performances recently, but it's not because I think he's bad. I just think he's young and he's got to develop. Now, there's that age-old debate, like, do you need them to play to develop, or do you need them, can you overwork them too quickly? I think it's both, and I think both things can be true. It just depends on the player. So, Night Shift Fuel, welcome. I like that name. That's pretty cool. It says Baleba's got another Baleba fan in here. Yeah, I think there's not like a right or wrong. Everybody's got a preference. My thing with Baleba is obviously his performances have fallen off a cliff. Some people think that he and his agent are intentionally downing tools so he can lower his price. You think what you want to think. I think that if the pressure of United is enough to make you just take a dip in form, then just being linked to United, then I think playing for United is going to be 100 times worse. And so I'm not necessarily a fan. I would rather go for someone like and Elliot Anderson personally, but that's just my preference. Box says Ipswich have a decent young fullback. Yeah, I liked Leave Davis at Ipswich 2 seasons ago when he was in the championship. He was breaking all sorts of assist records. He was one of my picks as well to replace Luke Shaw. Remember we did that Luke Shaw replacement video when Shaw was picking up more injuries about a year and a half ago. I like Leave Davis a lot. He's not done great this season, so it is what it is. Ipswich are kind of struggling, but Night Shift says, Onana and Aston Villa. We always think we should not take goals. We should take goals as a team. Yeah, I don't know. Box, is that who they have? Do they really have Ashley Young? Wow. Ashley Young, man. Hey, you know what? I'm not even going to lie, dude. Fair play to Ashley Young. He's my age, and he is still just doing his thing, man. He's still playing at a top level. He's still contributing. He's still a leader. You know what? Fair play to him, man. Fair play to him. I don't have a problem. Let's wrap up with some more news real quick because obviously we raged a little bit following the Bournemouth match because I do think, speaking of Semenyo, I think Semenyo should have been sent off for grabbing Diogo Dalot's throat, if you guys remember that incident. I do think we should have had, at minimum, at least one handball pen awarded for just all. There were like 3 handball calls. The one we did get awarded that led to Bruno's free kick goal was the least like severe of all of them, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. But we've had a lot of calls not gone our way recently. I think that Arsenal's goal, for instance, in the opener should not have stood because they were pulling Binder's arm. It is what it is. But apparently, according to Mike Keegan and the Daily Mail, United are going to seek a meeting with Howard Webb, who is head of the PGMOL, because reportedly United are frustrated with a lot of these errors that have cost us points. I think that we can't argue that they have cost us points. I think that this move is being led by United's officials, according to Chris Wheeler. So Ruben Amorim isn't really involved. We did a deep dive on Amorim back when Ten Hag was looking risky, and it still holds today. Amorim doesn't really complain about referees. It's just not something he does, and so I can't imagine him being involved in this. But Joel says, I look very useful for being 40. Well, I appreciate that. I call it... Justin calls it that Leonardo DiCaprio disease, or you just always look like you're 32 or something. I don't know. I gotta tell you, Jules, it's been a long time since I felt 30 or 25. Like I always say, I'm at that age where when I sleep too well, I know that my neck's gonna be fucked for like 3 days. That age, that age where you make noises when you stand up and sit down. Whatever that Venn diagram is of age, that's I'm right in that sweet spot there right now. But still not too old to go out and kick a ball around. You guys know I did that. I threw out that crossbar challenge a few months back. I think Jules took that up. Well done, Jules. Tag Jarvis, tag Stu, tag Rich as well. I like to keep the community just tight knit. You guys know I don't look at this as competition. I look at it as community. The more people I get to talk to United about, the happier I am on a daily basis. So, but I appreciate that, Jules. um, Private 9444, interesting name. Says Anderson needed over Semenyo. I mean, I agree. Midfielder definitely for me right now. I do think that if we can just shore up that defense just a little bit, I think that we'll all breathe a little easier sometimes, especially when we're defending those transitions. Let me see what this poll is at for a second here. So 61% of you say yes, Semenyo in January. 9% say no, and 30% of you say other priorities first. So it sounds like a lot of people are going for the attackers. And then I don't think that that's any news to me. And most people tend to want goals and want attack and stuff. We did go pretty heavy in attack in the summer. We did not really touch midfield at all. And like I've said many times, you break down the midfielders we have, it's not great. Bruno is not a 6. Casemiro is 33. Ugarte is not quite good enough. And Kobe's head does not seem to be at United anymore. So when you really look at it at that point, doesn't make for good reading. It just doesn't, unfortunately. So yeah, you did a good job, Jules. I know it was pretty windy when you were doing it. It says it was great fun to do the crossbar challenge. Able to see some of the others give it a go. Yeah, it's fun times. I know a lot of people thought that I was left-footed. I'm not left-footed. That was right-footed, but because I was using my phone to film it, I had to put my phone on the ground real quick. I'm right-footed, but the phone reversed it, so it looked like I was left-footed. I wish I had a left foot. My left foot is just for standing on. I can't do shit with. I can heel chop it with my left foot and put it onto my right, so I can then shoot with my right. But that's about it. That I'm not left-footed at all. I tried to throw a football, like an American football, once with my left hand. Did not go well. Did not go well at all. It looked like I had a stroke while I was doing it. It's not good. So yeah, United going to meet with Howard Webb to basically complain about a lot of these calls. So, like for instance, like the article listed the Brentford match in October, where Howard Webb himself even acknowledged that the decision not to send off Nathan Collins. Remember when he pulled back Brian Mbeumo when that ball was put into the box? We never got a pen for that. Howard Webb came out afterwards and said, yes, that should have been a pen as well. We ended up losing that match too. So super annoying. We drew against West Ham recently, and there was that call. Wan-Bissaka probably should have been sent off that match for what really should have been a second yellow card challenge. If you guys remember that, when he came in two-footed late on Dorgu, should have been sent off as well. So again, a lot of that stuff's just not really gone our way. Again, the handball call for Wolves and non-handballs, it's just ridiculous. According to, not Chris Wheeler, sorry, Mike Keegan. According to Mike Keegan, he goes on to claim that the PGMOL have also acknowledged to United that each of those incidents that I just listed were in fact refereeing errors as well. So United basically getting screwed by the refs. I don't know who was on VAR against Bournemouth, but I think clearly they had some bad tacos and they were stuck in the men's room the whole match because fuck off. That was ridiculous. Box says, yes, Semenyo should have been sent off. Yes, Semenyo should have been sent off for sure. If you can get red carded for doing that to your own teammate, why aren't you getting red carded for doing it against the opposition? It's absolute horseshit. Casemiro would have been fucking deported and sent to prison if that had been him doing that. Jewel says, I'm watching this while rolling on a foam roller to ease the pain. Nice. I remember, I use a foam roller now for my my IT band. There was a period in time where I didn't play for a while, and then I played, and then like I didn't know what it was at the time, but like my kneecap would feel a little out of place. I would get a sharp pain like walking up and down stairs. I was really worried that I had done something to my knee, so I went to go see a PT, and they were like, "No, your IT band is tight because you took a long break from playing, and then you played too much, and now your IT band tight. It's like a tendon that runs from like your knee up to like your hip." And so they were like, "Just get a foam roller." This is how you're going to use it. And it hurts. And it hurts when you do it, when you use that foam roller, but it is like instant relief. So it's the best thing ever, man. You get to be my age, you got to start just doing the little extra stuff, man. I never used to stretch. I got to stretch now and stuff. I got all that stuff, man. But the rust builds up quicker. It takes a little longer to shake off. It's just the way it is. But if I can keep playing for a while, then I'm happy. But I'm glad that there are people like you, Jules and Jarvis and Stu and whatnot, who still play, who still kick around. I think that as long as you can do it, just do it. I feel just overwhelming peace and like it's joy, but it's not like crazy joy. It's just I'm happy when I'm on a pitch and I've just got a ball at my feet and I'm just the wind's out there, the sun. It's awesome. I love it. It's just like a good little escape from things. Plus, it's just good exercise too. But let me know your thoughts on some of these refereeing errors because obviously it's too late now, and I think that's the biggest issue for me is that there's nothing to do about it now. Some of these have cost us points when we should have maybe had a different result. And you guys know I don't like blaming refs. It's you can criticize refereeing errors, but also not blame the ref for a result. There's both things can be true at the same time. And I think the problem with me is had this been like 10 years ago, you can be like, whatever, they got it wrong in real time. But because you've got VAR, these people are watching these decisions over and over again, these moments, and they're still coming to the wrong decision. That to me is inexcusable. Inexcusable. And these same refs will be back officiating another match the following week, and they'll probably make the exact opposite call. And that's the biggest problem too, is inconsistency. Casemiro gets sent off. That Everton player, Idrissa Gana Gueye, gets sent off for smacking Michael Keane. Nelson Semenyo does not get touched. Like, it's absolute horseshit. You just got a yellow for that? Like, come on. Do they not know the laws? It's really annoying, but it is what it is. Where's this poll at for Semenyo, you guys? Make sure you're liking. Make sure you're subscribing, please. I'm going to close that poll. 61% still say yes, take him. 32% say no. So I'm going to say center midfielder for me is the priority. I wouldn't say no to Semenyo if you want to throw him as that left wing back option and just trust that he can do that job. I think he's, at the moment, a definite improvement on Patrick Dorgu. I think his attacking output is definitely better than Dorgu's. He's obviously got the experience as well. And then you let Dorgu kind of phase in, and then you give Dorgu the opportunity over the next year or so. Hey, are you good enough or are you not? If not, it is what it is. We'll move you on. I don't think it was too big of a fee for Dorgu, so it is what it is. But I'm willing to give him a shot just because he's still young. But let me know your thoughts, you guys. Please make sure you're liking. Make sure you're subscribing. Please go hype some old videos if you want to on your phone. That does help the channel a lot. If you weren't able to catch the live, leave your thoughts in the comments. You guys know I check those comments out as well. I always try to respond to people. But let me know your thoughts on Semenyo. And we'll be back. What's today? Thursday, probably Saturday for the Aston Villa preview. I got to go record the next episode of What If, and I'm going to do a scouting report before I leave as well. So we'll do the scouting report live, but we'll do that early next week. But the What If episode will be pre-recorded, and we'll throw that up for when Dylan and I are traveling. But Dylan and I will be checking in with you guys while we're at the airport, while we're walking around, when we go through like the Munich tunnel and stuff, and when we go check out the Trinity statue and things. When we're walking around downtown, we'll check in with you guys. You guys know, and obviously we'll be checking in from the Airbnb following the Newcastle and the Wolves match as well to get your guys' thoughts and do a little fun impromptu live. So never a shortage of content here on the channel, but I appreciate you guys for stopping by. I appreciate your thoughts. Welcome to the new faces and welcome back to everyone who is a regular on the channel. Appreciate you, Jim, for being a member of the channel for a couple months now. It's awesome, man. Thank you so much. So till next time, you guys, take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I will see you guys on the next one. Later.